handle the truth.
And now, live from the Star Worldwide Studios Tower, overlooking the 5th largest city in America and heard worldwide, it's the Josh Bernstein Show. Liberal hypocrisy and leftist lunacy exposed and dismantled with intellect and facts. And now, here's your unapologetic host, Josh Bernstein.
Breaking tonight, a new bombshell in the investigation into Hillary Clinton's email scandal. The State Department now says it cannot find any of the emails from the Clinton staffer responsible for setting up the infamous private server. None of them. Joining me now, Fox News senior judicial analyst, Judge Anna Napolitano. All right, so I don't know if this is a bombshell. Is this a bombshell?
It's something that causes it closer and closer to a perfect storm for Mrs. Clinton. There's a lot of moving parts. Last week, her 5 closest aides were interviewed by the Department of Justice and the FBI. One of them reportedly said, I don't remember. Red flag to the FBI. Next week, Mrs. Clinton will be interviewed by the FBI, even though she told all kinds of reporters over the weekend, I've never heard from them. Of course, she never heard from them. Her lawyer has heard from them. Next week, her closest aides will be giving a deposition, an examination under oath outside of the courtroom on the whereabouts of emails. Now we find out tonight that the most significant of her staffers, the guy she paid $5,000 to commit a felony, to migrate her secret emails from a government server to a non-secure personal server. Her IT specialist, they can't find his emails. And at the same time, we learned there's a debate going on in the Kremlin between the foreign ministry and the intelligence services about whether or not they should release the 20,000 of Mrs. Clinton's emails that they have hacked into and received and stored. All of this is happening at once.
Welcome to another hard-hitting edition of the Josh Bernstein Show. The Josh Bernstein Show starts where the rest of the media ends. On today's program, we're going to talk about a lot of different things. We're going to talk about the latest on Hillary Clinton and what's going on with Guccifer and Brian Pagliano and Cheryl Mills and some of the other things, including her admitting guilt, and I will go through that here in just a minute. Then a little bit later, we're going to talk about Hillary's vice presidential pick, who I believe is going to be Julian Castro. This is a Marxist, separatist revolutionary, raised to be that from a very young child, along with his twin brother, Joaquin. So we'll talk about that. We will be exposing that and a lot of information on that, so you don't want to miss that segment. And then a little bit later on in the program, we're going to be joined once again by Dan Weber, the founder of the Association of Mature American Citizens, AMAC for short, which I am proud to be an official spokesman for. And there's a great event that's going on next Monday that I will actually be attending myself as well. And so we're going to talk to him about this amazing event that's coming up. But first, before we get into all that real quick, last night, obviously, Nebraska, West Virginia, obviously Trump trounced it. We knew that he would. There's only one person left. I know there was some rumors about Ted Cruz restarting his campaign if he won something, but that's not going to happen. At least I don't think it's going to happen. So the latest is 1,120 delegates for Trump. He's a little over 100, about 110, 115 away from the 1237, but no need to really break that down and go into that. So first thing that I want to talk about is obviously starting the show. You saw the video with Megyn Kelly and Judge Napolitano. And in that video, you can clearly see that coming from a legal standpoint, Judge Napolitano certainly believes that there was criminal intent, there was gross negligence, and that she should be arrested. She should be thrown in prison for what she has done. Now, will she see a prison cell? More than likely, no, she won't, unfortunately. So that's the sad part about it, because we have a Justice Department that is going to protect her because she's a Democrat, and we have Barack Obama who's going to pardon her if she even was indicted, because again, him being a Democrat as well. And I think more than anything else, the Clintons have a lot on the Obamas and vice versa So they're going to be protecting each other all the way to the end. And that's another reason why Trump needs to win, because Trump's Justice Department will go after Hillary Clinton and maybe even, hopefully, Barack Obama for all the crimes that they have committed. So what's the latest? Well, the latest is that right now in the investigation, we just had Cheryl Mills, her former chief of staff, testify. It was a testifying. There was a lot of back and forth. There was a lot of non-answers that were going on. And at one point, she even got up and left and walked out. Her attorney and her walked out. Then they came back in. So she may be a hostile witness, although they're not calling her that. But I think that the writing was on the wall. They asked her some questions that apparently they didn't approve of beforehand. And so we'll see what happens with that. We know that we've got Brian Pagliano's testimony coming up. This is the former IT personnel person that set up her server illegally outside of the confines of the State Department. But now, miraculously, the State Department has somehow lost all of his emails. Gee, they just disappeared coincidentally when he was getting ready to testify. There's so much shenanigans going on behind the scenes here, folks. It's ridiculous. There's also been word that the Kremlin, Putin and the Kremlin, have 20,000 emails, as you saw in the video clip, and they are wondering whether or not to release them. Now, we also know that Guccifer, the Romanian hacker, was brought over to America. And believe me, folks, he wasn't brought over to America to do some sightseeing, look at the Grand Canyon or the Statue of Liberty. He was there to give testimony. He has said, point blank, that he has hacked her server. He said that he's done it at least twice. And he said that when he did hack the server, he found at least another 10 IP, Internet Protocol addresses in that server when he hacked it. Now, if you remember, Hillary Clinton in many interviews, as a matter of fact, one in particular was from last year, said that nobody hacked her server. There was no sensitive information or top secret information taken or stolen from her server. Well, we know now that that's not the case. And the reason it's not the case is because Hillary Clinton herself has now been tripped up and has admitted to the fact that she has this server, this off-premise server, in her basement at her residence in New York. And she did an interview on September 27th, 2015, an interview with NBC's Chuck Todd. Clinton said, quote, "The server was already there. It had been there for years. It was set up by Bill after he left the White House. We had it set up in our basement. This is the exact server that the FBI knows was unencrypted or not encrypted, and this is the one that they have found sensitive material and top secret information on." So she slipped up in this interview back in September of 2015 and admitted that the server was set up and was set up off-premise, and it was set up more than likely by Brian Pagliano, who was her IT director for her campaign in 2008, and then she paid him, the Clintons paid him to do work at the Clinton Foundation and also to set up their off-premise server in her house in New York. So there you go. And that's why Pagliano now cannot plead the fifth as he did in the Benghazi testimony. He no longer can plead the fifth because he broke a rule, which is to have a server set up outside of the State Department and then not disclose it on the State Department financial forms that the Clintons paid him off the table and under the table and off the record, if you will, hundreds of thousands of dollars to do private IT work for them. Well, he never disclosed that on the State Department financial disclosure forms. That is a felony. And that's why he's now has to testify. He no longer can plead the fifth because of that. And we'll see what happens. We'll see how much he testifies and how much information we can get from that. But this is a self-admittance from Hillary Clinton of her guilt, that she knew that she had the unprotected server. Now, I looked for a video. I was going to show a video clip of that, but I can't find it anywhere. It's not on YouTube. I found a 16-minute clip that was done on NBC News, but it wasn't a YouTube clip. And unfortunately, I don't have the ability with the videography work and things like that. We do a lot of great stuff on the show, but I can't take those types of videos and upload them to the show to show you. So you'll just have to trust me on the fact that that video is out there. You can look for it. NBC, Chuck Todd, Hillary Clinton talking about how her server was already set up. Now, under federal law, it is a crime not only to steal sensitive, top secret government information, but also it is a crime to take that information, whether it is intentionally or not, and use it outside of the confines of what you're allowed to use it with, which would have been the State Department. Well, that's known as gross negligence. So a lot of people say, well, there's no intent here, and you have to have intent to convict. Well, that may be true. And again, I even interviewed F. Lee Bailey, the famous defense attorney for O.J. Simpson last year, and he said, Josh, they have to have intent. Well, Andrew Napolitano actually says different. They're both great legal minds. But Andrew Napolitano says, Judge Napolitano says that gross negligence is just as serious as intent. So if that is the case, and the FBI does go after her for gross negligence, that is punishable by 10 years in prison. Now, again, we know what the Justice Department is. We know what Barack Obama would do if there was an indictment. If anything, this thing keeps going on and on and on. That would be the best thing, because obviously it would damage her chances in November. But here's the thing. The thing that worries me is that the investigations are happening now. Cheryl Mills, Pagliano, Hillary Clinton, I think, in the next coming weeks, maybe Sidney Blumenthal, Guccifer, who knows. The thing that worries me about having these things now is that they're trying to wrap up this case. Now, to me, if they're trying to wrap up the case now, again, I don't have a crystal ball here, but I would say that more than likely, maybe they're looking for a way not to indict her. And I hate to say that, because I want to see Hillary Clinton get indicted here, but I also want to see Hillary Clinton get indicted in October, 2 weeks before the election. I don't want to see her get indicted now, because then they have time to replace her with somebody else. But more importantly, I think, and again, I don't know for sure, and I hope I'm wrong on this one, folks, I truly do, but the fact that they're trying to wrap up the investigation now, I think they're putting pressure on the FBI. Who knows, maybe the Obama administration threatened their families. Maybe the witnesses have been threatened by the Clintons. We know people that have testified against the Clintons are no longer alive to talk about it. We know that the threats that the Clintons have done. So it is certainly possible that they're trying to get this behind them so that they can concentrate on the general election, and they want to go in the general election not under indictment to try to steal this election from Donald Trump. So I don't know. That's just maybe my conspiratorial thoughts coming out, but I hope there is an indictment. We'll see what happens. One other thing before we end this segment. Last year, a federal judge told Hillary Clinton and her associates at the State Department to preserve and or recuperate all emails and communications from the time this started last year till now, until the trial is over. When we know now that Hillary Clinton and the campaign are in direct violation of that judge's order. And how do we know that? Well, it's very simple. Her campaign, it has now come to light that the Clinton campaign has made a $184 payment to a American Document Destruction Incorporated in Colorado, Denver, Colorado, in both February and March of 2016, just a few months ago. Now, this company specializes in, quote, destroying hard drives. Let me repeat that. This American Document Destruction Company, that her campaign, there are proof of her campaign, there are receipts from her campaign to American Document Destruction Incorporated in Colorado, that she paid to, quote, have documents and hard drives destroyed. Now, from their own website, from this company's own website, quote, our hard drive destruction can take place at your site or at ours Either way, we always get the job done. So she is in direct violation if she destroyed any information from her State Department. Now, granted, this could have been stuff from her campaign or what have you, but it doesn't make sense. Why destroy drivers? Why are you going to destroy drivers from your own personal website or something having to do with your campaign? It doesn't add up, folks. So again, I believe she's in direct violation. Now, if Barack Obama, the weasel that he is, wasn't the president, and the Justice Department with the hit woman Loretta Lynch protecting Hillary Clinton would be looking good in orange right about now for what she has done. Knowingly falsifying State Department forms, which she did, that's 3 to 7 years in prison. Keeping sensitive material after leaving the State Department and then lying about it on her financial disclosure forms and on her exit interview, that's 3 to 7 years. Giving sensitive material to her attorney, who is not credentialed to accept that type of information, 7 to 14 years. Storing top secret sensitive information on an unprotected server, anywhere between 10 to 20 years. Stealing top secret information, 10 to 20 years. Gross negligence, 10 years. Bottom line is this: if Barack Obama wasn't president and Loretta Lynch wouldn't block any indictment, this woman would literally be looking at a minimum of 7 to 75 years in prison. But because she's Hillary Clinton, more than likely, she's going to get away with this. And that truly is the sad part. The fact that there is a national person, a national nominee for the Democratic Party that is running for president under FBI federal investigation goes to show you the moral value, lack thereof, of the Democrat Party, the soullessness, the disgusting scruples of Democrats in America in the year 2016. It is unbelievable to think. If this was a Republican, they would have been run out, they would have been forced to end their campaign months ago. We never would have even gotten to Iowa, okay? But the fact is that it's coming from the unscrupulous, moralist, devalued left, and they could care less. They look at it as a badge of honor being under federal indictment. Truly sad. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
You're tuning into the Josh Bernstein Show, where Josh covers the news the way the liberal media would not dare.
Spotlight Ventures Media, turning brands into stars. The times, they are a-changin'. Traditional media outlets are no longer effective and are quickly going out of style. Today's top brands have become aware of the new media landscape and are reaching their customers where they are most active, online. Spotlight Ventures Media is a full-service internet advertising and online marketing agency. We turn brands into stars with personalized services aimed at getting your business center stage and captivating your customers. Our solutions are proven to engage customers, increase market share, and provide a measurable return on investment for your business. How do we do it? Retargeting. Spotlight Ventures Media specializes in retargeting. If a customer leaves your site before making a purchase, we keep their attention on your brand by customizing and placing your ads on other sites they visit and lead them back to your site to seal the deal. Get the exposure and sales your company deserves. Contact us today and send your brand strolling down the red carpet in no time. Spotlight Ventures Media, turning brands into stars.
Josh Bernstein here. You all know me as the hard-hitting and unapologetic conservative talk show host of the top-ranked Josh Bernstein Show. But did you also know that I have a softer side as well? I am proud and honored to be an official spokesman for a really great group known as the Association of Mature American Citizens, or AMAC for short. AMAC is a group focused squarely on meeting the needs and protecting the interests of America's seniors. We offer a conservative alternative on how to best solve the problems seniors face today. From saving Social Security to gaining more access and control over your health care, to answering your health-related questions and providing you with the products, services, and solutions that you seek. So if you are a senior 50 years of age or older and do not want more government-run and controlled healthcare solutions, there is another option. AMAC is better for America, and AMAC's got your back. AMAC.US. AMAC.US.
You're tuning into The Josh Bernstein Show, where liberalism is a mental disorder. And Josh is the cure.
We all celebrate individual success, but the question is, how do we multiply that success? The answer is President Barack Obama.
Welcome back to the program. A little bit later on in the program, we're going to be joined by Dan Weber of AMAC, and he's going to tell us about a pretty awesome event that I will actually be attending as well next Monday in near Orlando, Florida, in the Villages in Florida. It is for a cost of living adjustment increase as well as an increase for veterans pay. So a great, great cause, and we hope to see a lot of people and a lot of folks out there as well. But before we get to Dan, I want to talk about who I believe, and again, you saw in this video clip, I could barely stomach even the 20 seconds of it. The minute the guy said Barack Obama, I wanted to turn it off. So I did. That's why you only saw a little bit of it. But there's been a lot of reports out there that Hillary Clinton is looking at her VP choice, and her VP choices are quote-unquote learning Spanish, or they're brushing up on their Spanish. We've heard names like Cory Booker, the senator from New Jersey. We've heard Tim Kaine from Virginia. We've heard Sherrod Brown from Ohio, obviously an electorally, good spot there for Ohio. And we've even heard Elizabeth Warren. We've heard of an all-girl power ticket. We've even heard Bernie Sanders, right, if he ends up going all the way to the convention with her. We've heard a lot. I personally believe that they're all smoke screens, okay? Because back on May 25th of 2014, I predicted that Julian Castro will be her VP pick. Now, could I be wrong? Absolutely, I could be wrong. Was I wrong on the contested convention? No, I wasn't. Was I wrong when 3 months ago I said that Donald Trump was going to win the nomination? No, I wasn't. I haven't been wrong on very many things, and unfortunately for America, I don't think I'm wrong on this one either. Now, during May of 2014, it was Memorial Day weekend. This Julian Castro, who was the former mayor of San Antonio, he was appointed, he was appointed to be the Secretary of HUD, Housing and Urban Development. And nobody really thought much of it at the time. He went through his confirmation and everything else. We were getting ready for our Memorial Day weekend that year, and that was it. But I saw that as a very different situation. I saw that as a very dangerous individual being appointed to a position of power in the Obama administration, with the direct correlation to the fact that he would more than likely be picked as the VP for Hillary Clinton or whoever the Democratic nominee was in 2016. Now, why do I say that, number one? And number two, why do I think that he is the pick, and why do I also think that he is so dangerous? Well, I wrote an article when this person was appointed to be the HUD secretary called "Why Julian and Joaquin Would Be More Dangerous to America Than Fidel and Raul." Their last names are Castro. Long story short, I was viciously attacked by the San Antonio News Express, a lot of folks on the ground in Texas, a lot of members of La Raza, Immigrants Without Borders. I mean, they blew up my Twitter accounts. They blew up my Facebook accounts. It was nasty. I got all kinds of nasty hate mail. And the reason I did is because I told the people the truth. And that is what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to give you information that more than likely 99.9% of you have never heard before. And it starts right now. So, Julian Castro and his twin brother, Joaquin Castro, were born 1 minute apart on Mexican Independence Day. And they were literally born and bred to be Marxist separatist revolutionaries from the time they could walk and talk. Now, why do I say that? Well, it's very simple. Their mother, Rosie, was a community organizer in Texas in the 1970s and eventually became a co-founder for the Council of La Raza, the co-founder of Council of La Raza. Now, La Raza is the Open Borders group, a very radical group that lobbies Congress and the Senate for open borders. They were lobbying for the passage of the McCain-Kennedy immigration bill back in the day. Well, La Raza literally means, if you translate the words La Raza, it means, quote, the race, okay? This is a Marxist, revolutionary, separatist group. Now, on their website, they say that they're there to help out the poor. They're there to help out the disenfranchised. They're there to help out Mexican Americans, and they want to help them with their schooling, their education, their communities, right? That's what it makes it sound like. Kind of the same thing with CARE, right? We know that CARE comes off saying that they're pro-America and they're there to help Muslims integrate into society and all this other crap, right? Meanwhile, we know that they've already been on terror watch list, CARE. We know that they're in bed with the Muslim Brotherhood and they have radical ties. Well, guess what? La Raza has radical ties too. The political arm of La Raza is known as Movimiento Estudiantil Chicano de Aztlán, or MECA for short. Now, MECA is an anti-American radical youth separatist movement that has infiltrated American colleges and universities. And their main objective, and they say it on their own website, which I'm going to get to, their main objective is to take back, reconquista, to take back parts of California, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas, and give it back to Mexico. Now, the University of Oregon MECA chapter website says, quote, Chicano is our identity. We reject the notion that we must assimilate into the white Anglo-American melting pot. For la raza todo, fuera de la raza nada. That means for the race, everything; for outside the race, nothing. So these are Marxist revolutionaries, this group. La Raza is part of this group, MECA. The MECA is the political arm of this. And Rosie, the mother of Julian Castro, is a co-founder of La Raza. You're not going to hear that on Fox, CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, or anywhere else. You're only going to hear that on the Josh Bernstein Show. Now, as children, these two were not sung nursery rhymes and Mother Goose songs. They were sung songs of revolution, and they admit it themselves. They were, quote, like war cries ringing in our ears, said Julian Castro. My mother would say things to us like, Viva la raza, or black and brown must unite. This is a radical individual, okay? A radical individual. I believe Hillary Clinton is going to pick this person, Julian Castro, to be her VP pick. And here's what's going to happen. This guy, who is young, articulate, well-mannered, well-dressed, well-spoken, similar to a young Barack Obama, He's going to get up on that stage, and in Spanish or English or both, he's going to say, Donald Trump is a racist. He's going to say to the crowd, Donald Trump wants to deport your families, your mothers, your fathers, your sisters, your brothers, your cousins, your uncles. And what's going to happen is there's going to be a groundswell of Hispanic support that is going to rush from all the swing states over to Hillary Clinton. So I know a lot of people are talking about Newt Gingrich for VP. They're talking about John Kasich maybe. They're talking about other people. Look, Donald Trump needs to do two things. Number one, he needs to not announce his VP pick until Hillary Clinton does so that he can react to it. And number two, he better find a minority conservative Republican, an Allen West, a Sheriff David Clark, a Senator Tim Scott. He needs to find somebody who is a minority, not a white person, because I'm telling you right now, I'm not 100% sure, but if I was a betting person, I would bet on it, that she's more than likely going to pick Julian Castro. He's going to run around the country calling Donald Trump a racist, and he's going to enact a bunch of excitement and everything else because he's a young, charismatic type of person. He's been groomed for this position, which I'm going to get to in just a second. I'll quote Harry Reid when talking about Barack Obama. Barack Obama had, quote, no Negro dialect. Well, guess what? Julian Castro has no, quote, Hispanic dialect. He speaks like myself or you or anybody else. Now, he's been groomed for this position, and I'll tell you why. Obama, in 2004, a relative political unknown, gives the Democratic National Convention keynote speech and rocks the House with his lie of red states. There's no red states, there's no blue states, there's only the United States, yada, 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 right? Well, in 2012, Julian Castro gave the Democratic National Convention keynote speech, which that little clip in the beginning of this segment was part of, okay? Here's where there's more similarities. Barack Obama was raised by a radical communist single mother. Julian Castro and his twin brother Joaquin were raised by a radical Marxist, separatist single mother. Obama went to Harvard Law School, supposedly. Julian Castro went to Harvard Law School as well. Barack Obama came on the stage pretty much a political unknown. And for the most part, Julian Castro has done the same. None of that is coincidence. This has been planned for a long time. I called it in my article. You can look it up. I wrote an article called the title was Why Julian and Joaquin will be more radical, could be more radical than Fidel and Raul. And again, it was an article from May of 2014. So I'm predicting that this is who it's going to be. And this is another reason why we have got to stop this nonsense of never Trump. We've got to get united as a party if we're going to beat Hillary Clinton and her eventual nominee, who I believe is going to be the radical Marxist revolutionary who would make Barack Obama look like Ronald Reagan, Julian Castro. I'll be right back with Dan Weber.
You're tuning into the Josh Bernstein Show, where Josh covers the news the way the liberal media would not dare.
It's 3 a.m. and your children are safe and asleep. But there's a phone in the White House and it's ringing. Something's happening in the world. Your vote will decide who answers that call. Whether it's someone who already knows the world's leaders, knows the military, someone tested and ready to lead in a dangerous world. It's 3 a.m. and your children are safe and asleep. Who do you want answering the phone?
I'm Hillary Clinton, and I approve this message.
I'm Josh Bernstein, and I approve this message.
Spotlight Ventures Media, turning brands into stars. The times, they are a-changin'. Traditional media outlets are no longer effective and are quickly going out of style. Today's top brands have become aware of the new media landscape and are reaching their customers where they are most active, online. Spotlight Ventures Media is a full-service internet advertising and online marketing agency. We turn brands into stars with personalized services aimed at getting your business center stage and captivating your customers. Our solutions are proven to engage customers, increase market share, and provide a measurable return on investment for your business. How do we do it? Retargeting. Spotlight Ventures Media specializes in retargeting. If a customer leaves your site before making a purchase, we keep their attention on your brand by customizing and placing your ads on other sites they visit and lead them back to your site to seal the deal. Get the exposure and sales your company deserves. Contact us today and send your brand strolling down the red carpet in no time. Spotlight Ventures Media, turning brands into stars.
Every once in a while, someone needs a hand. To hold, to comfort, to lift. All across America, people are joining hands with AMAC to support our nation's greatest values. Every AMAC member makes a difference, and the more who join, the stronger America will be. Stand with those who stand for freedom. Join AMAC. Better for you, better for America.
Hillary Clinton, why did you give repeated stand-down orders in Benghazi?
You know, this...
Sorry. Sorry.
Hillary Clinton, why did you shred more than 30,000 emails on your private server? Hillary Clinton, why should the American people trust you? Hillary Clinton, choking on her own BS and lies since the 1990s. I'm Josh Bernstein, and I approve this message.
You're tuning into The Josh Bernstein Show, where liberalism is a mental disorder. And Josh is the cure.
Welcome back to the program. My guest today has made several appearances on The Josh Bernstein Show. He is here again to talk about a great event that will be taking place next Monday, May 16th. Please welcome back to the program the founder of AMAC, Dan Weber. Dan, how are you doing today?
Josh, I am doing great. Thanks for having me on the Josh Bernstein Show.
Good. Well, I'm always glad to have you on. You're a good, close, dear friend of mine, and I enjoy working with you and helping out any way that I can with the Association of Mature American Citizens. I know that you're a busy man, as that's a good thing for AMAC and for yourself. And I know that time is short, but I wanted to bring you on because I wanted to talk about this fantastic, absolutely fantastic event that is going to be happening May 16th at 3 p.m. is when the doors open till 4:30. It is in the Savannah Center Auditorium in the Villages, Florida. And folks, this is going to be a great event. Dan, tell us a little bit about the event and why you decided to put it on.
Well, as you know, seniors were kind of robbed this year. We did not get any increase in Social Security cost of living. The COLA was unfairly figured out for seniors. Federal workers got an increase in pay this year, but seniors and veterans did not get an increase in COLA. They used the excuse that gasoline costs went down so much, it screwed up their calculations. But the truth is that medical costs went up 5%, food costs went up, almost everything went up in cost, and the seniors have been treated unfairly.
They certainly have. And look, we can see from a pattern that when there is an election year, like in 2012, they give you an increase, but the other years they don't. We know now that we have situations where we've got illegal aliens collecting Social Security benefits. They're allowed to file back taxes. I mean, it's just crazy what's going on. We've got to take care of the members of society that need the help the most. Those are the senior citizens and, of course, our veterans. This also helps the veterans as well, does it? Does it not?
Yes, sure does. There's a bill, H.R. 4140, that gives an increase for seniors retroactive to January and also includes veterans who also were not given an increase in cost of living.
Right. Now, another good thing about this bill, this is known as H.R. 4140, the Seniors Act. It is a bipartisan bill, has co-sponsors, both Republicans and Democrats. It gives the 1% increase in benefits, as you said, as well as for veterans and for seniors. What I find also interesting about this is the fact that where we sit right now, the way that the healthcare situation is in America with Obamacare, with the fact that it is controlling more and more of our lives, as well as seniors' lives, not getting that cost of living adjustment. These are the folks that we've got to take care of the most in society. It's a wonderful thing that you're doing. And more importantly, folks, this isn't to raise taxes. This isn't to increase spending in a way that's, you know, not conducive to the economy. Tell us about how you're able to get this increased amount of money for the seniors and actually making it a situation in which it's not really hurting the taxpayers.
Right. So as you know, we got a terrible annual deficit in our budget. So what we said, if we're going to have this bill passed, we have to have offsets in spending so that we don't get an increase in debt,
right,
which everybody hurts, you know, from that, that's for sure. So we found out the Congressional Budget Office had done a study as far as aid to children in some of the programs. And what they come up with was they're what we call phantom children, where people who are on some kind of benefit program from the federal government list how many kids they have. Well, there's no verification. They just say, well, I have 3 kids, 4 kids, 5 kids, whatever it is. So the bill puts in a provision that any child who is receiving income has to have a Social Security number. In order to get the Social Security number, you have to have a birth certificate. So there's the proof.
Right.
And the CBO estimates that will save $8 billion, which helps makes up. We need about $10 billion to pay for the Social Security and veterans increase. That's $8 billion alone. And there's several other areas in government where they found some fraud and wasteful spending. We'd use that money to make up the difference.
See that? Simple solutions, common sense solutions. They can be done. They can be worked on. We have bipartisan support on this bill. And for folks that are watching this, please go to amac.us. Look at the website. There is an area where you can contact your congressman or congresswoman in your respective state. Tell them to support H.R. 4140. Our seniors and our veterans deserve it. Again, if you're going to be in the Florida area, if you're in a neighboring state, please come to the rally. It's going to be at the Savannah Center Auditorium in the Villages, Florida. Their phone number is 352-753-2270, 352-753-2270. It's 1575 Buena Vista Boulevard in the Villages, Florida, 32164. It is Monday, May 16th. The doors open at 3 p.m. Also, go to amac.us. Again, www.amac.us. You can contact them toll free at 888-262-2006. 888-262-2006. Tell them that you heard Josh Bernstein on the Josh Bernstein Show talking about this wonderful organization. We'll even give you a free membership. Dan, it's been a pleasure having you on the program as always, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
Thanks, Josh, and God bless you and your audience.
Okay, take care. Okay, folks, so that was Dan Weber, the founder of AMAC. Great guy, great patriot, really doing everything he can for seniors health care, to give them more control, more power over their lives, their livelihood, and to make their lives easier, because again, we've got to take care of the folks that deserve it the most. Those are the veterans and the seniors in America. That's all I got for this week. Until next week, God bless.
Thank you for joining the Josh Bernstein Show. Unabashed, unafraid, and unapologetic. Holding America to a higher standard. For more information on The Josh Bernstein Show or to connect with Josh, just go to StarWorldWideNetworks.com.